The sun had long since set, casting the small town of Willowdale into darkness. As the clock struck midnight, a feeling of dread washed over the town's residents, as if they were being watched by unseen eyes. Adam, a young man with short, spiky hair and piercing blue eyes, sat huddled in his bedroom, trying to ignore the feeling of unease that seemed to be emanating from the walls around him. He had always been sensitive to the supernatural, and tonight, something felt off. Suddenly, a loud knock at the door sent Adam's heart racing. He hesitated for a moment, wondering if he should answer it, but then he heard a faint cry for help. Taking a deep breath, Adam gathered his courage and made his way to the door. He cautiously peered through the peephole, but all he could see was darkness. "Who is it?" Adam called out, his voice shaking. "It's me, Brian. Please, let me in," came the desperate reply. Adam's fear instantly dissipated as he recognized the voice of his childhood friend. He quickly unlocked the door and pulled it open, revealing a pale and trembling Brian standing on the doorstep. "What's going on? Are you okay?" Adam asked, taking in the sight of his friend's disheveled appearance. Brian didn't answer, but instead grabbed Adam's hand and dragged him out into the night. Adam followed, his curiosity getting the better of him. They made their way through the quiet streets, Brian leading the way until they reached an abandoned house on the edge of town. The old, dilapidated building was surrounded by a tall fence, its gates locked and padlocked. But Brian seemed to know exactly where he was going, leading Adam to a small, hidden door in the back of the house. Once inside, Adam was met with a sight that took his breath away. The room was filled with ancient artifacts, each one more intricate and beautiful than the last. Adam couldn't help but be drawn to a small, ornate chest in the corner of the room. As he reached out to touch it, Brian grabbed his arm, his eyes wide with fear. "Don't," Brian whispered. "It's cursed." Adam pulled his hand back, his heart racing as he realized the truth of Brian's words. The chest was emanating an aura of darkness, and Adam could feel the malevolent energy emanating from it. "We have to get out of here," Adam said, turning to leave. But as they made their way back through the hidden door, they were confronted by a group of shadowy figures. Adam could feel the fear and desperation rising within him as the figures closed in, their eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. Just when all hope seemed lost, a bolt of lightning lit up the sky, causing the figures to disappear. Adam and Brian took the opportunity to escape, running as fast as they could through the streets until they reached the safety of Adam's home. Breathless and shaking, the two men collapsed on the couch, trying to come to terms with what had just happened. "What was that?" Adam asked, still trying to process the events of the night. Brian took a deep breath before answering. "I don't know, but I think it has something to do with that cursed chest we found. We have to find a way to destroy it before it's too late." Adam nodded, determined to put an end to the malevolent force that had awoken in Willowdale. Despite their best efforts, Adam and Brian were unable to destroy the cursed chest. No matter what they tried, it seemed to be indestructible. As the days passed, the darkness that had awoken in Willowdale grew stronger, and strange occurrences became more and more frequent. People began to go missing, and those who remained were filled with a sense of impending doom. Adam and Brian knew they had to find a way to stop the curse, and they began to delve deeper into the town's history, searching for any clues that might lead them to a solution. Their research led them to an old, crumbling church on the outskirts of town, where they discovered an ancient ritual that was said to banish evil spirits. Desperate, they gathered the necessary materials and began to perform the ritual, hoping against hope that it would work. But as they spoke the ancient words, they were interrupted by a loud, guttural growl. A shadowy figure emerged from the shadows, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. Adam and Brian knew they were no match for the powerful entity, and they fled the church, their hearts heavy with defeat. As they made their way back to town, they were confronted by the full extent of the curse's power. The streets were empty and the houses were abandoned, their windows shattered and their doors hanging off their hinges. Adam and Brian knew they had failed, and that the curse would continue to plague the town forever. They could only hope that, one day, someone else would come along and find a way to banish the evil that had taken root in Willowdale. As they stood among the ruins of their once peaceful town, tears streamed down their faces as they said a silent goodbye to the place they had called home. They knew they would never be able to return, and that the memory of their failed mission would haunt them for the rest of their days. But even as they mourned their loss, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. As they turned to leave, they saw a pair of glowing eyes staring at them from the darkness, a reminder of the evil that still lingered in Willowdale. Adam and Brian knew they had to leave, to find a place where they could escape the curse and start anew. But as they walked away from their hometown, they couldn't help but wonder if the evil would follow them, a constant presence in their lives forevermore.